Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dasibre Forum, a forum that talks about geographical concepts. Today, we'd like to talk about rocks and being a mineral that is composed of different kinds of abilities that is meant for our geographical location. Basically, we see rocks as a means of surviving. It is used in the upbringing of bridges, it is used in building and construction as well. But today we'd like to look at the rocks, its definition, and how it evolved from geographical understanding. So today, rocks. We can say that rocks deals with aggregate minerals. It deals with aggregate minerals that makes the solid portion of the earth. The aggregate mineral that deals with the solid portion of the earth. And please, minerals, we are not talking about Fanta or Coke. We are talking about minerals within the rocks. Someone will say that such minerals can be magnesium and different kinds of activities that is within the rocks. But after knowing the definition of rocks, we can talk about the types of rock. And under types of rock, we can base on it using the formation type. So under formation, we have three types of rock. Under formation, we have igneous rock, we have sedimentary, and the last one is we have the metamorphic. So these are the three types of rocks under formation. So first of all, you should know the definition of rocks, in which we say that rocks deals with aggregate minerals that makes up the solid portion of the earth. Aggregate mineral that makes up the solid portion of the earth. Then you come to the types of rocks, in which we have igneous rock, sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rock. Now, we are going to take each of them to discuss it. So the first one, let's discuss about igneous. Now, igneous comes from the Latin word ignis, which means fire. So in the olden days, fire, they were having a rock in which there has been the involvement of magma from the earth's surface, and they were complaining. They thought that it was through their god that was punishing them. So they termed it ignis. But the word ignis means fire. Igneous rocks, how it is formed. Igneous rocks are formed when magma within the earth crust begin to rise. When it rises, it passes through lines of fissures. It passes through lines of fissures. We are talking about cracks and line of weakness in which the magma passes through it. When it passes through it, it cools and solidifies. When this magma cools and solidifies, it becomes hard and it tends to be a rock. So in this case, we are talking about magma within the earth crust, in which it cools and solidifies. When this magma cools and solidifies, it is termed as igneous rock. This one, the cooling and solidification brought about the rocks. So in this case, let's also consider another aspect. Under this, we have two types of igneous rock. We have two types of igneous rock. We have the intrusive igneous and we have the extrusive. So basically, we have two types of igneous rock. We have the intrusive igneous rock and we have the extrusive. When we talk about the extrusive igneous rock, it's the same as volcanic igneous rock. The extrusive igneous rock is when the magma cools and solidifies on top of the earth's surface. That is the extrusive igneous rock. The extrusive igneous rock. But the intrusive, another name for it is plutonic. So with the intrusive, we are talking about magma cooling and solidifying within the earth's crust. So when the magma cools and solidifies on the earth's crust, it is termed as extrusive or volcanic igneous rock. But when it cools within the earth crust, they are all termed as intrusive igneous rock. Another thing that you should know is the characteristics of igneous rock. Characteristics of igneous rock. So as you see the rock, you can see that it is hard, characteristics. You can say that it is hard, it is crystalline, it is very resistant to erosion. Example of this rock, we can talk about diorite, granite, and other aspects. So these are the things that you should know if you want to talk about igneous rock. So first of all, you know that igneous rock, it is formed when magma cools within or outside the earth crust. When it cools and solidifies, it forms igneous rock. And the igneous rock, these are some of the things that you should discuss. You should know the characteristics. When you come to sedimentary, sedimentary, we are talking about sit. When you're about to sit, you see that it goes in layers. It goes in layers to sit. That's why you have sediment. So sedimentary rocks is when weathering has taken place, which causes the material. So it is when weathered materials, plants, and animals, when they coalesce, or someone say when they accumulate, when they are hardened, then it becomes hard. It leads to sedimentary rocks. So sedimentary rocks are for when weathered materials, whether organic or inorganic materials, are hardened and accumulated, it leads to sedimentary rock. And in this case, we can talk about the characteristics of sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock, we can say that one, it is in layers. Another characteristics. You can say that it is in layers. You can also say that it is stratified. It is stratified. Another word that you can say is it is not resistant to erosion. Or it is not resistant to erosion. If anything happens right now, it will be eroded because of the material that's made up of that rock. You can also talk about metamorphic. You can also talk about metamorphic rock. Under the metamorphic rock, basically we are talking about alteration, or someone will say that alteration. When you're having this huge top, and you're having this huge check, and you wish to let it fit you, you see that you go in to the alteration for it to alterate, for you to make it fit you. The same thing applies to rock. When rock undergoes heat, pressure, and active fluids, when heat, pressure, and active fluids is being applied on the rock, it changes from its original state. The process is called metamorphism. So it is metamorphism, a situation whereby a rock undergoes a continuous pressure, heat, and active fluids, which changes the original state to a different state. Remember, the mineral component of the rock still remains when a metamorphosed rock undergoes metamorphism. So the rock that has been undergoing is termed as metamorphosed rock. So characteristics of metamorphic rock, you can say that it is derived from either igneous rock or sedimentary rock. So in this case, we will stop our lesson here, and later we will talk about the different types of igneous rock, in which we have the calcareous, we have the arenaceous, we have the rudiaceous, we have the metasomatism, metamorphism, and we have different types of rocks in which we will discuss in our next episode. Catch you next time. This is Dasibre Bonsu.